Because the Old World, nations Europe, are a bunch of hypocrites with double standards worse than the most recalcitrant fourth-wave feminist. They love to criticize and try to force other countries to follow their ideas, but after they just made the very same thing to a worse scale. The Americas' forests, and this includes the Amazon, are mostly preserved, especially if you compared its status with the ecologic crime done by the Europeans with their own forests. 4a. Changes in forest cover. This is particularly true in regions with a temperate climate such as Britain and other parts of Europe where agriculture took an early hold. Interestingly, the Worldwide Forest Report found that when the Roman Empire was in control of Europe, 90% of the continent was forested land. Today, as indicated in the image on the right, Western Europe has now lost over 99% of its primary forest. They should worry first to repair the horrendous crimes done to their native forests before going around criticizing developing countries that only want to develop and improve their life quality while they already developed and just sit on their self-righteous asses on top the ecological crimes of their predecessors that allowed them to reach their current level of development. The nerve to demand other countries to damage and hamper their development when you already enjoy the fruits of the ecological damage that they have done. If they truly were worried, they would be willing to decrease their CO2 per capita emissions no matter what, even if that means a decrease in life quality or to subsidize the implementation of nuclear power in those countries that only want to improve their life quality. But they don't want to do either, so for the developing countries they just look as the conceited, self-righteous pricks that just want boss around like in the colonial times, unwilling to make sacrifices themselves, just demand sacrifices to be made from others while they keep enjoying the benefits of the same actions made by their ancestors. Edit. And even today, when it suits to the hypocrites in Europe, they willingly turn a blind eye on the environmental impacts of the so-called green energies. Living Planet, The Problem with Lithium Mining, DW, the 11th of August 2018. And their leaders even have the fuck-ing nerve to want to discuss about the natural resources of other countries as if we still were living in the colonial age. Amazon fires, Merkel and Macron urge G7 to debate emergency. Europeans might think that they are progressive, but they still see their former colonies with the same eyes that when holes like him were alive. Edit 2. I didn't point Napoleon III to his role in deforestation, but his role trying to conquer my country like all good European imperialists of old. Fortunately, we drove them out and killed his puppet Maximiliano like a stray dog and then butchered the body, damn royals, in breed mutts. Then 140 years later or so, the French and their president come trying to perform an act of neocolonialism expecting that Brazil would just bow and follow their orders like subjects of the French Republic, but the French and the rest of Europeans with neocolonialism minds can go and forget about it. This is a matter of sovereignty and always have been. Europeans don't know how to respect other countries' sovereignty just like the Americans, but with a lot more hypocrisy. China had their century of humiliation before the Western powers after 1839, we had ours in the 20th century at the hands of the USA and NATO. Anything coming from NATO powers that mostly are composed by former colonial powers will be seen as an ideological attack against the sovereignty of Latino America. Operation Condor, the Cold War conspiracy that terrorized South America. Edit 2. I just want to add this little info. Curiously, Brazil is almost as ecologist as France and above plenty of European nations. This only reinforces the point that the French are hypocrites that only want a pretext to interfere and violate other countries' sovereignty.